Twitter has absolutely erupted after the principal of a Mumbai college said that women who dress like men tend to undergo a gender role reversal in their heads, and that in fact may even lead to polycystic ovarian disorders in them. Now, shocking as that was, this principal is somebody who has already advocated gender segregation in the college canteen, but it was Twitter's response to her that was positively amazing, because we had a range of celebrities, women in general, tweeting photographs of themselves in various types of clothing with the hashtag dress like an Indian woman. We asked tonight, is it time to shut down the wardrobe police with humor and Twitter activism, or are things never really going to change? Joining us tonight, actor, someone who's been a politician, she's a trained pilot now as well, the very lovely Gul Panak joining us this evening, as is right-wing activist and author Rahul Ishwar. Now, Gul, you actually tweeted a photograph of yourself in pants and a shirt and a pullover right after this hashtag started trending. Why did you feel strongly enough to do so? There are those out there who might say this is yet another Twitter fad. This is the trolls taking on somebody who felt that, you know, she was enforcing discipline in her college. But why is it that we keep coming back to what women, particularly young women, should dress? Why are there so many people who are forever trying to police this?
I think there are various parts to this. Firstly, I think it's important to establish that how you dress is A, part of your culture, B, part of the climate, and C, largely based on the utility of those clothes. So today you have people in the south of India wearing salwar kameez, something that wasn't the case, say, 10-15 years ago. So what exactly does it mean to even dress like an Indian woman? Because the Indian woman herself dresses so very differently from the north, whether it's Kashmir or Punjab, to the south, to the east, to the west. What exactly defines dressing like an Indian woman? My posting that picture really had to do with the fact that I was rather amused with how this hashtag actually started. And when I read up about it, I found that it was linked rather bizarrely to women forgetting their femininity and then beginning to think like men and then developing PCOD.
Rahul Ishwar, you also got trolled on Twitter, much as Principal Deshpande has got trolled on Twitter after this comment, when you said that you didn't believe in Western left-leaning feminism, but you believed in Indian womanism and feminism. Where do you come in on this debate? Why do you think women's dress becomes such a point of contention for men sometimes, but really for people who want to police women over and over again and what they dress and what they do?
There are two basic paradigms, two perspectives. Let me not be politically correct and spell out both. One is a left liberal, what you call the general left liberal perspective, and another is a right responsible or a right conservative perspective. This is not only in India, this is also in US, where Milo is right now being a great icon for the right, and he is getting a lot of applause from all the media for airing a counter view to what they call feminism. So the second perspective is a right-leaning perspective. Of course, one or two absurd statements doesn't mean that entire right-wing responsible statements are misleading. The other perspective is everyone should have a modesty in their behavior. The dressing should be modest. And just like Ariel Levy, who is a female journalist.
When you say everyone should be modest, are you advocating modesty for men just as much as women? Or can men get away with it, but it's, you know, women who are the threat?
Absolutely no. Even men, there are many restrictions in our schools and colleges wearing low-waist jeans or revealing jeans. I would quote Ariel Levy, a world-famous American female journalist who went to the extent of writing The Rise of Female Chauvinistic Pigs, where women encourage their clan to become exhibitionistic objects. Our humble contention is, let us have modesty. We all like liberty, but let us also not forget a responsible dressing.
I think I agree with you when you say people should dress responsibly, because ultimately your own well-being is largely in your own hands. But when you start putting terms like modesty that have different interpretations for different people, I think one leaves the field wide open for various factions to exploit, whether they are the left-leaning liberals or the right conservatives, whichever way you look at it, the moment you bring in subjective value judgments like modesty, which can't be accurately measured. For instance, if you belong to the very northern part of India, say where I come from, Punjab, wearing the traditional Maharashtrian sari, which sort of reveals a significant portion of a leg, would be considered extremely not modest. So there is no one definition of modesty for the Indian woman in India.
And of what dressing like an Indian woman is.
That ultimately what you wear, and you know, Mr. Ishwar, what you eventually wear as a man or as a woman is a function of your culture, is a function of your climate, is a function, most importantly today, in this time and in this day and age, of the utility of what you're wearing. So just to go down to, and I understand very, very, very well that some outrageous statements don't necessarily define the norm. There are always going to be exceptions. There will always be people who will make the most bizarre statements for whatever reasons that, you know, they see best.
For instance, Gul, we've even had the President of the United States.
When women are trying...
we've even had the President of the United States, Donald Trump, saying this week that White House female members of the White House staff must dress like women. Again, a comment that has exposed his sexism and brought Twitter alive. So it's really not something that's restricted to India alone. When it comes to women's dressing, you find sexist attitudes everywhere.
And if I can point out one more thing, one of the current sensations in US, Milo Yiannopoulos, who is an anti-feminist, or the entire right wing or the right responsible narrative, is not only winning in India, it is winning world over. The humble submission we have is, we accept relativism. There may be different standards for different people, but let us not go to the extent of nihilism, which says there shouldn't be any standards, or standards are absolutely subjective. There is nothing called absolute subjectivity.
But why,
even
Mr.
relativism.
Ishwar, should women's clothing even be a matter where a subject of a threat? Why would you feel threatened by women's clothing? Why would you seek to establish any sort of basic structure which has to be adhered to in the matter of sartorial choices?
Very good question, ma'am. Even I agree with Gul Panakji in two things. But if I can point out one thing.
Yes, just a moment, Mr. Ishwar. Yes, Gul, do come in with your comment, and then he can respond to both of us.
I also would like to have to sort of broaden the scope of this conversation, and maybe have a conversation about what exactly feminism means and why you feel anti-feminism is justified. Because as far as I'm concerned, and as far as most people that I know, feminism just means where women get their rightful place in terms of equality, in terms of access to opportunity legally, socially, economically. Surely you don't disagree with that, Mr. Ishwar?
Rahul Ishwar, go ahead.
I totally agree with the spirit that Gul Panakji expressed. But having said that, feminism which basically says male and female are the same, we are opposing that strand of feminism. We are not against equality, but we are for gender uniqueness, gender diversity, and gender complementarity.
I don't think it's the same.
Absolutely, they're different.
It's about getting
we are proposing
equality to access economically,
legally, please remember,
politically,
we are not against,
socially, and
we are
that
not
is the
against
crux of
gender
feminism.
equality.
Not equality with men, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the entire right wing is not against gender equality. They are against the idea of gender sameness. They are against the idea of, they are only for the idea of gender uniqueness and gender diversity. We are ready to respect, and we seriously believe male and female are equal, but they are unique and different in their own sense. So they need to have a dressing code, they need to have a social sense, a unique their own.
Otherwise, they might get gynecological disorders. Is that what we're saying? I'm afraid I'm going to...
Some extreme statements are unfortunate.
Ankita, sorry, I'm sorry.
Yes.
To be fair, it's unfair to hold Mr. Ishwar responsible for outrageous statements that have been made by, like he...
Yes.
What Ms. Deshpande said. If she believes that wearing trousers gives you PCOD, then that's her opinion, however bizarre and inaccurate it may be. And I don't think it's fair for us to expect Mr. Ishwar, even though he may belong to the opposite side of the spectrum, say from where I belong, to be expected to defend that statement. But I do object, Mr. Ishwar, with all the humility at my command, to the fact that anybody has a right to impose a dress code. The imposition of any kind of a dress code, if at all, is something which is internal. If a woman decides to want to dress a particular way, bases a particular situation, bases a particular occasion and a location, that's her choice. Right. No one has the right to tell her what to wear, or what to eat, or who to marry
I'm glad
or what
we have
job to
agreement
seek.
on that.
That right, nobody has.
I'm completely out of time. I would like to thank both Gul Panag and Rahul Ishwar for joining us on this very quick discussion tonight. Thank you for being on the Buck Stops here.